Welcome, I'm Rabbi Phil Bressler of Beit Am in Corvallis, Oregon, and this is the daily summary video for the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch Yomi Daily Halakha Learning Project, covering the passage from Sivan 143 Seif 1 to Siman 143 Seif 9. You can find links to the Hebrew and English text of this passage and the calendar of upcoming passages in this video's description. So after spending quite a long time on Shabbat and various other holiday prescriptions, we're moving out of the realm of ritual mitzvot to interpersonal mitzvot, and jumping of all places to the mitzvah of honoring one's parents, honoring one's father and mother. So the Kitzur tries to make the claim that honoring one's father and mother is on the same level of importance as honoring God, God's self, and supports this claim by means of two analogies. We have verses that say to honor and to revere, or fear. I like revere better. Honor and revere God. And we have verses that say to honor and revere our parents. Now, on the one hand, honoring parents is a good and important thing. It's one of the Big Ten. But there are some issues that restrain me from getting fully behind this equivalence. Honor your father and mother no matter what creates a situation that's ripe for abuse, for one thing. Parents also don't always behave in ways that we consider deserving of honor. The Kitzur is going to address this to some degree later on. I think what's useful here is less the specifics or maybe the overall stringency that this Siman seems to demand, but rather a more nuanced understanding of the dimensions of honor. Treating other people honorably isn't always straightforward, and thinking about some of the contours of a person's honor that are described here, that the Kitzur is going to sketch out, that can help us think a little bit more expansively about how we actually go about honoring our parents or anyone else for that matter. Now note, some of these seem to apply to only a mother or a father. I'm going to neutralize and flatten the gender roles. As far as I'm concerned, they all apply to your parents no matter their gender identity. So, how are they to be revered? First, don't pretend to be your parent, taking their place in a prestigious meeting, taking their place with their friends, or in the spot where they pray, or even their spot at the dining room table. Additionally, don't contradict them. In fact, don't even agree with them. Don't even corroborate what they say. This is an interesting dimension to honor. Whether you agree or disagree is utterly beside the point. You should go along with what they say simply because they've said it. That seems to be the message. To what extent must you revere them? This is tough, and again, I'm not willing to fully stand behind this, I don't think. It says, even if they abuse and humiliate you, don't embarrass them. Don't show distress or anger at the way they're treating you. You apparently can go sue them later in court for the damage they've caused. Note, these are categorized as aspects of fearing or revering one's parents, which is not the mitzvah described in the Ten Commandments. It's another one brought up by verbal analogy. It's unclear to me how exactly this is distinct from the mitzvah of honoring them, but that's how it's arranged here. Because next we get the question: how are they to be honored? You've got to provide for their food, their clothing, and their shelter, and do it cheerfully, not begrudgingly. This speaks, I think, to the common experience of caring for retired and aging parents. The next one I can really relate to: if they're asleep and the key to your store is under their pillow, don't wake them up, even if it means taking a financial loss. Now, obviously, this is a very specific corner case. I think we're getting at something larger here. There's something here about recognizing that parents deserve a degree of leisure that shouldn't be infringed upon. But if they'd want you to wake them up, making a profit would make them happy, for example, then actually you have to wake them. Also, wake them up to perform mitzvot. My wife compared this when I mentioned it to her about to waking her college roommate up to go take her exams. She would have been so mad about oversleeping, So waking her up was actually being a good friend. Another interesting note: if mom tells you to do something that's going to make your father mad, you can't throw mom under the bus. You have to honor her by actually taking the fall and letting dad be mad at you. It's a matter of shalom bait. You can't be not only dishonoring your mom by throwing her under the bus, but you have to preserve the relationship between your parents too, as a matter of peace in the home, shalom bait. You have to stand up in their presence. That's a near universal sign of respect. You're obligated to mourn them after they die as well. And I'm sure we'll get into those details later on. What if your parent is wicked, a rasha, or a sinner? The Kitzur seems to be of the opinion that you're obligated to honor and revere them anyway, as difficult as that is. The Kitzur also notes that others, and the footnote indicates that this includes luminaries like the Tur and the Ramah, they say you don't have to honor and revere them, but you can't actively cause them grief either. We'll have a bit more on parents who are transgressing tomorrow, but that's all for today. As always, our learning is dedicated to Rabbi Shlomo Gansfried, the author of the Kitzur, and to the historic Jewish community of Uzhhorod, Ukraine. See you tomorrow.